Welcome to this morning's morning market review. Today's Thursday, it's the 23rd of Feb. My name is Russell Schramm, Senior Market Specialist at FXCM. My email address is r@fxcm.com. Just going to go ahead and bring up the high risk investment warning. I'll keep this on screen for a few moments. Let me know if the sound is okay or if it breaks, and I'll turn the camera off. Should be okay. I'm going to just bring up the market commentaries disclaimer. And what we'll do, we're just going to take a look at trading, I beg your pardon, we're looking purely at market scope today. So we're only looking at market scope. I want to go through the day trading layout, and let's see what's happening with that day trading layout. And I'm bringing up the DAX first. And this is just to let everyone know we did do a full series on the day trading. So if you don't have the day trading layout or you don't know it, just email me. I'll send you to the playlist. We did it fairly extensively. This is the fast stochastic. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get a read of the short-term momentum. And a fast stochastic is a good way of doing that. This is over 5 days, and it's pointing up. It's moving in that northeast direction. So with regards to the DAX, it does look as if there is some sort of upwards momentum or upwards pressure there. And we're going to go down to the hourly chart, and this is where it gets quite interesting for us. What we're looking for effectively is we're looking for two criteria. The first criteria is that we want the prices to close in zone 1. Okay, so we're on the border here or falling out of zone 1. So just be careful. If we go back into zone 1, well, that checks one of the criteria. The second criteria, we don't have a check here. It has to be over 50 on the fast stochastic. So what we're looking for is we're looking for an underlying momentum to effectively be in sync with one another, starting off from a top down, looking downwards. So we go through the daily chart. Daily chart is pointing up. So now we want the hourly to synchronize with the daily chart. We go down to the hourly chart. It's not quite there. Okay, so we want the DAX price to move into zone 1. It may get there. We've got another 13 minutes. It might close in zone 1. That's only 1 out of 2 checks on screen. We need the fast stochastic above 50, and you can see it's above 50. We typically get some good movements for a day trading type of setup. And then we're going to go through to the 5-minute chart. Well, there's not much we can do on the 5-minute chart here because, unfortunately, we don't have the checks on the hourly chart. So we're going to just bypass the 5-minute. It does look as if there is a good kickoff pre-cash open. As I said, we've got about 13 minutes left. So there does seem to be some sort of pre-market open positioning to the long side. Let's just go down to the dollar, which is typically a safe haven. So we want to see what's happening with the dollar here. So I'm just going to bring that up, and we'll do a similar analysis here. And we'll start with the daily chart, and it's pointing down. It's going in that southeasterly direction. So on the daily chart, it's really just looking at the directional bias. The directional bias is to the downside here. And what we want to do is we want to marry that with the hourly chart. So we're trying to get everything in synchronization here. So we go through to the hourly chart to see if we can sync up. And again, not quite. All right, not quite. In fact, it's in the neutral area, so there's no hourly momentum to the downside. Now that's interesting. Okay, that's interesting because I would expect that if the DAX is going to be in play today, then there should be movement out of safety, out of the dollar into the risk market. The risk market is, of course, the one of the risk markets would be the DAX or the German 30 on our platform, and the dollar theoretically, I would expect to be moving in a negative correlation there. So I would expect it. So look at the dollar. Let me just try and make this as coherent as possible, because I feel like I'm rambling here. We want the dollar to get into the into zone 3, which is the lower blue, lower red, and we want the dollar's momentum to get below 50. If we can get the dollar into zone 3, and if we can get the momentum into the side of 50, well, then I would go back to the DAX, and what I would do is I'd want to see the DAX showing an opposite type of signals. I want to see the DAX moving into the upper zone, zone 1, and I want to see the stochastic moving into the bullish side of 50. Well, then we've got some really good confirmations. We've got the dollar that would be biased to the downside. We'd have DAX that should be biased to the upside. That makes things a little bit interesting on a day trading layout. So that's very it's very interesting just to see that the dollar's fallen into neutral. It's very interesting to see that the DAX is fighting to stay in zone 1. Let's just take a look and see what the NASDAQ is doing. The NASDAQ is interest rate sensitive. It's also a growth market. It's in terms of risk markets, it's right up there. So we want to go through to the NASDAQ and we want to do a similar type of analysis. And here it's not quite as clear as the DAX. When I say clear as the DAX at least has its momentum moving to the upside. We don't quite see that on the NASDAQ. So we want the NASDAQ's momentum to start showing some bullish pressures. We want to start moving in that northeast direction. We want it effectively to get above 50, and we want the price to stay in zone 1. Let's just see what it's doing on the daily chart. The daily chart here is looking really interesting, isn't it? It's doing up in that northeast. So just to start off the day, we're going to see that we have the markets tending towards risk on at the moment, but I'm only going to go as far as saying tending. We haven't gone full on into a risk on environment, and I think that we've got to give the market some time to breathe. Let's see how the markets are over the next hour, and effectively see if the NASDAQ is firmly in zone, and if its momentum is firmly above 50. Let's see in an hour's time if the DAX, okay, is in zone 1, and if its momentum is above 50. At the same time, in an hour's time, let's go back to the dollar and see what's happening with the dollar in terms of, has it dropped into zone 3, and has its momentum dropped into the bearish area below 50 on the hour chart. If they were all in sync, so this is from Mia or Maya, beg your pardon. If they were all in sync, but it's few minutes to the hour, would you wait or place the order? Because these are hourly charts, you must wait for the full hour to finish, because I don't know, maybe on the Mia is right. I'm beg your pardon. Okay. I would wait the full hour there, Mia. You want to effectively give the respect to the time frame that you are analyzing. So I don't know, maybe once in a while, it probably happens more than once in a while, there are 2-3 minutes left for the hour, something comes out, and then it actually doesn't finish in zone 1 or zone 3. So you're kind of left in no man's land, but you've got a position on. So the idea is to give the full respect to the hour that you are, not the hour, to the time frame that you are working with, be it a weekly, be it a daily, be it a 4-hourly. Let the candles complete. Let the candles give you its full information. Remember, you get a heck of a lot of information off of a candle. You get an open, high, low, close. If you go in before that close, you don't have the 4. You've only got 3 of the 4. So I hope that answers the question there. It's the hardest thing to do, by the way, because it requires discipline, and discipline is really, you know, it's a trader's best friend, but it's also a trader's worst nightmare, because how many of us want to jump the gun? I would suggest we all want to jump the gun. We all want to get in ahead. We all want to start making money as quickly as possible. But I would suggest the better tactic is to have the discipline and to have the patience. Let's just take a look at a few of the other currency pairs here. Let's take a look at Euro US dollar. Yeah, exactly. So Mia's saying that she went a little too early, got stopped, and then it went in her direction. So I think by and large, if you give the time, you know, the credit it deserves, more often than not, I think it's going to work in your favor. Let's take a look at the euro. Okay, so the euro is similar to the dollar here. We've got the euro pushing to the northeast on the daily chart. That's good to see. We go through to the hourly chart. It's still neutral. What else was in neutral? The dollar was in neutral. So these are going to be highly correlated. Effectively, if the dollar drops into that bearish area of 50 and the euro makes it into the bullish, so in the bullish area of 50 over here, then you've got that double confirmation. That makes for a very comfortable place to be. All right, so I just want to reiterate the last few points. Going through to the euro US dollar, okay, because I lost you guys there for a moment. We're in neutral and we've got this nice area of support. We go through to the US dollar. We go through to the US dollar. Take a look. We're in neutral. We're in neutral, and we potentially got this nice area of resistance here. The idea is, does this resistance hold, and does it push into zone 3, or does the resistance break? Incidentally, if we have to be completely honest with ourselves, we are ranging at the moment. There's some support as well. So we go back to the euro US dollar. Okay, you can say over the last 6 hours, pretty much ranging as well. But why are we looking at support and why are we looking at resistance? Is because of the daily filter. The daily filter is showing an upwards bias here. Well, if it's showing an upwards bias, then we want to see support hold. Okay, if we go down to the US dollar, okay, the US dollar is showing a downwards bias here. So then we go through and we want to see resistance hold. Okay, if resistance holds, then that downwards bias is going to play into sort of our plans, right? And then we can try and exploit that. Are there any guarantees here? Of course, there's no guarantees here. Because there's no guarantees here, then of course we have to use a stop loss and we have to use risk management tools. All right, let's just do one more. Let's do pound and see what's happening on the pound side. All right, the pound is pushing up as well. Okay, we see this, it's pushing up as well. Okay, where are we? We're in no man's land and we below 50. We need to get pound into the upper into zone 1, into the bullish area, and we need to get the stochastic above 50 before we can really exploit or get involved with the daily momentum. Let's just take a look and see how the DAX is open. Let's go back to German 30. German 30 showing the movement at northeast. That's moving that northeast. We go through to the hourly chart here. Now, there's not much we can do. It's dropped into neutral. We've got to wait for it to get back into zone 1 before we can do anything. It might get back into zone 1. That's what we said. We're going to wait the first hour, okay? And then, of course, so it's starting quite nicely, but just give it some time to breathe. And we want to see if we are in the bullish side of 50. One more. Let's just take a look at NASDAQ again, which is that rate-sensitive index. okay? And you can see that NASDAQ actually has closed. It did close in zone 1. We've just got to get it to close in the 50 area here, and then we've synced up with the bullish bias of the daily charts. So again, just to reiterate, it looks as if there was a risk sentiment that was building at the start of the day. Let's see if that risk sentiment effectively keeps, and if that risk sentiment keeps, then we can go down to the 5-minute chart here, and we can go down to the 5-minute here and see if we can use our 5-minute chart to finesse some sort of entries. All right. I'm sorry about the break in the middle there. The internet just went a bit weird. I'm going to put this on. I'll put this on YouTube, and I'll put it onto Telegram, and I'll just edit out that middle part. Alrighty. So any questions, you can email me, arthur@fxcm.com, and I shall speak with you guys tomorrow. By the way, something interesting before you guys leave, something interesting. The non-farm payrolls is not on the first Friday of March, it's on the second Friday of March, which will be the 10th. So there might be some sort of public holiday there that I've got to just double check. But the non-farm payroll trade is going to be on the 10th of March. All right, guys, thanks very much for joining me this morning. Have a good day, a good evening ahead, and we shall chat tomorrow morning. Thanks very much.